grade language arts teacher. I use the Track My Thinking reading strategy. That is where you do, it's like a read aloud. You give the students a piece of paper and you have them fold it into the fractional part of the number of questions that you've predetermined from the selection you're going to read. As you're reading, you ask them higher level critical thinking questions, and then they write their answers in complete sentences. After they've written their sentences, then you let them have an opportunity to share their answers with their team. This gives them the opportunity to get their thoughts down on paper, synthesize the information, and then they can collaborate and communicate on their answers. I learned the Track My Thinking strategy from Dr. Paige Ferguson in a graduate course that I took at Texas Tech University. Today, that's where I read and we stop and I ask questions. You're going to write your answers in complete sentences, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to share with your team. Okay? So we're going to want to see good thoughts written down on your paper and good discussions when we stop and talk. Right? This is a strategy that I use with whole group. The text that I selected was Bud Not Buddy. The reason why I selected that text is because it is on a level that most fifth graders should be on at this time of the year. However, some of the students are not on that level. That is the reason why I chose to read it aloud and for it to be a more structured reading lesson. So, in your next blank box, how do you think Jerry feels about living with the three little girls, and why? The benefit of students writing their answers is that they're able to think through their answers, and then they're prepared to share with their teammates. It holds them accountable for monitoring their own comprehension. Then as they're sharing their answers, everyone gets an opportunity to answer. You have 100% engagement, and they're able to collaborate and check their understanding with their teammates. They're also reminded to go back and reread the text to prove their answers and have supporting evidence. Okay, you may share with your teammates.
I said he might feel awkward because he's the only one who's on the girl. It's like, what one wants to live with? I said Jerry probably knows, and he feels like happy he was some boys are not like
I think Jerry's unhappy because he has to be with three freshmen and little girls.
Yeah, because he's the only boy around there.
Yeah.
What clues from the text make you think he's not?
Because it said that he looked like he just found out that they're going to drop him in a pot of boiling milk.
What do you think that means?
That his face doesn't look like he's happy at all.
Okay, all right.
I think Miss Stone does that.
So like know more about the book. Not
So,
only
like,
just reading it.
I feel like everyone would get it more, so like you'd be able to share your thoughts with everyone, so everyone can have a different opinion about it.
Okay. Anyone want to share why you think he does not want to go live with the three little girls?
So I said
This is the best strategy for my students because it gives them an opportunity to practice all the reading comprehension strategies at once and not in isolation. It's an opportunity to cycle back to the lessons that I've previously taught and they have learned, and they're able to exercise what proficient readers really do. From the text shows us that he feels that way. What clues did the author give us?
Well, it says that he looked like that he just found out that he's going to be put in a pot of boiling milk.
Okay, what do you think about that?
I'd be pretty terrified.
Okay, all right. Here we go, we're going to keep going. When students aren't tracking or monitoring their understanding, I am actively monitoring the classroom as I'm reading the text aloud. Every student is provided with a copy of the text. I redirect when they're not tracking. I listen in whenever they're discussing their answers. I also check their papers to see what they're writing. If they are not checking or monitoring their understanding, then I re-ask the question. I remind them that good readers go back and reread, And then if that still doesn't work, then I rephrase the question and guide them to the correct answer. I collect the papers at the end of the lesson. I use it as a formal assessment to see if the children are really understanding and monitoring their reading, the comprehension of their reading. So this is different than guided reading. This is something that I would use in whole group. Guided reading in the 5th grade, there's more independent reading where they're responsible for their own reading and for preparing their jobs, their Lit Circle jobs that they're going to bring to the group discussion. I also have my students do Post-it notes as they're reading. They do Post-it notes nearly every other page where they're identifying the main idea of that page, and then when they come to guided reading groups, we discuss their Post-it notes and we have really good discussion over their books.
What advice would you give?
I think tracker thinking is a pretty good method, and I like the postcard things. You know, you get to do something new pretty much every single time.